I must have made it in Gundaroo. The other night, while lying in wait with SWAT poised for a squadron of blowflies to attempt yet another strafing attack on me good lady, there was a knock on the door. Out front was an earnest young bloke anxious to know if I wanted to join the local cricket club. I gave a chapel-like swing with the fly swat and squinted at the shattered blowy heading towards the fireplace for a four. The earnest young bloke was obviously impressed, and so was I. Being asked to join the Gundaroo cricket team is another step up from being allowed to use Matt Crow's hooky board, but I had to refuse. The locals play cricket on Sunday, and Sunday was traditionally our day of rest. Anyway, after the earnest young man had gone, his face ablaze with disappointment, I wondered how he'd come to hear about the high standard of cricket at the Prickle farm. You see, only the day before we'd completed an excellent afternoon's play. It all arose because the rotund miller, mentioned in earlier exploits, wasn't feeling a well woman after a sudden re-examination of a couple of bottles of tawny port. A consensus of on-the-spot medical authorities decreed that exercise was the only way to repair the damage. The selectors had a large range of players to pick from. Several thousand worthy Canberrans had invaded the Prickle farm at first light for the usual weekend barbecue and garden demolition. The rotund miller and Paul the punk rocker used an axe and a file to fashion a crude cricket bat out of what had previously been a perfectly good cricket bat. A visiting dog was robbed of a tennis ball and a coincidentally empty beer carton became a wicket. The rules were somewhat obscure. They were made by a loud-voiced young man named Justin, aged 9. "I want a bowl," he declared. That was accepted. "I want a bat," he added. This was difficult to arrange. So Miller, no, not Keith Miller, Ron Miller, went to bat. He scored a run and was caught out by an 11-year-old girl in slips. "My turn to bat," yelled Justin, aged 9. Paul the punk rocker's girlfriend came in to bowl. "Oh, I wanted a bowl," called Justin, aged 9. The punk rocker's girlfriend had trouble with the first 15 balls. The long grass stopped them from going any further than the first bounce. The batsman, Justin, aged 9, saved her performance from becoming a complete fiasco by stepping backwards onto his wicket. "My turn to bowl," was his only comment, as he was ordered back to the stands. There was a bit of panic as the dog, which originally owned the ball, suddenly reclaimed it and headed up the yard with members of both teams in hot pursuit. Then a young man known only as Fingers came into bat. He smashed a couple of grubbers to the boundary and then got his swing right. His next effort was a mighty stroke. It so impressed his good lady, Carol, sitting nearby on a car bonnet, that she was moved to raise her hands in applause and caught him out. "My turn to bat," chortled Justin, aged 9. As it happened, it was my turn. After a few defensive shots, I decided to stop mucking about and prepared to notch up the runs. I scored 1 before being caught out by Justin, aged 9. "My turn to bat," he announced. Fingers and his girlfriend were still not sullying the atmosphere with needless conversation. The dog who owned the tennis ball recovered it again, and there was more minor disruptions. Then someone's daughter went in to bat, and no one could get her out. We were all saved by a sudden storm which drove everyone to cover. "I won," announced Justin, aged 9, as everyone headed indoors.